What is going on, everybody? And today, I want to talk a little bit about, man, I got so much paint on my clothes already. It's crazy. Today, I want to talk about the heart of a messenger. Okay? There's a certain kind of heart that we need to learn to adopt as messengers. And there's a certain kind of heart that I wish people had when they hear a messenger. And this ain't just a message to messengers. It's not. This is a message to people who hears messengers. I want to tell you something that a lot of people don't think about. And before I say this out of my mouth, I really need you to interpret my words differently than what you might want to take them. Because what I'm getting ready to say could be interpreted in a way that could sound like a stumbling block to somebody. But only God knows I don't mean it that way. But don't y'all understand that there is a lot of shame that go into preaching the gospel? There's a lot of shame that go into offering words of correction. There's a lot of shame that go into giving exhortations. There's a lot of shame that go into being a prophet. Not everything about it gotta be a shameful thing, but the overall point of it is actually kind of sad when you think about it. Everybody think serving God is a glamorous thing. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's a dirty game. It's a high calling. It's a high purpose to serve for a clean and holy God. But the simple fact that this got to exist is sad when you really think about it. If everybody believed God, there would be nobody to prophesy to. If everybody believed God, if everybody knew what they should know, there would be no reason to give these exhortations, these words of challenging you to think differently. If everybody was on one accord, there'd be no reason for a preacher. If evil never came into the world, there would be no need to reach out to people to save their soul. The simple fact that most of the world is perishing is the reason we got to do this. And when you think about it, there is no glamour in that. Like, if every word we say could have the potential for life and death for a lot of people. Simply because they probably somewhere way out in left field and have not yet received a renewed mind. The simple fact that people need a renewed mind is crazy. Like, you mean to tell me you was born one day, then your mind was corrupt, and now you got to renew it? That's crazy. That's crazy. The simple fact that you got to listen to somebody preach at you is absolutely absurd. When you really think about it, it is. It's like, wait a minute. So this guy got to tell me because I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I was evil. This guy got to tell me because I didn't do right. And I didn't do right because I'm evil. That's like cleaning up after somebody else who don't pick up after themselves. That's like telling 40-year-old, 30-year-old, 20-year-old people to clean their own bedroom every day. That's just as bad as that when you really think about it. And to carry the heart of a messenger requires you to have some shame in your game. Right? Some people, man, they ain't got no shame in their game. They con you out of money. They tell you all these false things about the Bible with no shame in their game. I do this with shame in my game. I don't do this blindfolded like that. I always got to examine myself and every word I say, simply because I know that I'm not exempt from being corrected. I'm not exempt from being able to get in the flesh. I'm not exempt from going wrong. I'm just not exempt. And you want to know the hardest thing about being a messenger? The absolute hardest thing about this is when the words God used you to say is meant for you. Not for everybody else. You. That's crazy. See, a lot of people, y'all interpret messengers of God like perfect people who just pointing around telling you to be more like them. Some of us are totally empty-headed when we come up here. Just totally empty-headed, and every word flowing out of your mouth is something you didn't even expect to say. Sometime I got a whole different topic in mind. Whole different one. I ain't even know that. Some of the stuff I say is darn true, and I didn't even know it before I said it. Or I ain't even know I was gonna say it, is what I mean. And I'm like, wow, that make perfect sense. Man, it's hard. I mean, it could be fun. It could be challenging. It could be rewarding. But it's not glamorous. All of these glamorous preacher boys, they got no idea they giving the wrong impression to a lot of people. No idea. God wants you to be rich, and he wants you to be happy, and he wants you to feel good and this. And it's like, well, if that's what God wanted for me, then why did his son have to be slayed like a mad dog on the cross? And you mean to tell me God wants the opposite for me that he wanted for his own son? I don't think so. Why would God give you reasons to be attached to this world when we really supposed to be making plans to leave? I'm not saying God don't want to bless you. I'm not saying God wants you to be sad all the time. You know what I'm saying? But God is near to a broken heart, a broken and contrite spirit. Be poor in spirit. Didn't it say, blessed are the poor in spirit? I ain't talking about poor, period. I ain't talking about somebody walking around the man, but you gotta have a sense of knowing that you are totally bankrupt without Christ. You gotta have a sense of knowing that I'm nothing. At the end of the day, no matter what I got, I'm nothing. Nothing. And the biggest challenge is when you got everything and you still got to remember, I'm nothing. It's hard to have all your creature comforts in line, still having to remember, I'm nothing. Everybody praising you, still having to remember, hey man, don't fall for that. Yeah, don't let them gas your head up, or you gonna be just like Eddie Long. You know, well, rest in peace, Eddie Long. Yeah, but that is an example of somebody who was not poor in spirit. I mean, he went as far as letting somebody crown him as king of Israel in front of everybody on TV. Having your head gassed up. Not remembering to have shame in your game. And you went all the way to crowning yourself as Jesus. As Jesus, King of Israel. It's crazy. It's a slippery slope when you start being rewarded. It's a slippery slope when you start being given things you always wanted. It's a slippery slope when you start building a large platform, and you know what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope because Satan is always going to send somebody to start gassing you up. Oh, you the best thing that ever happened here. Oh, man. You just a mighty man of God. I am not. And I'm going to keep it all the way real with y'all. I am not a mighty man of God. I wish I can be like some of these other people. I see everybody else as much more godly than me. I'm like, man, they probably got a better chance in heaven than I do. Like, that's what, look, I don't know why I see it that way, but I do. Because I know what I deal with. I know what I struggle with. I know what I have done. I don't know where everybody else been. All I know is I owe him everything. And I can't even repay 1% of it. I owe him more than I can even repay. I owe him in currency that I don't even know exists. It's like, yeah, you owe me $1 million. What's a dollar? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do I owe you $1 million of something I don't even know exists? I don't know the next thing I'm going to have to give up for the sake of Christ. I don't even know what tomorrow might look like, right? He might call me to move out of state. And I'm like, I just found a good job. I just started a good business. And you mean to tell me I got to give it all away after all that praying? It's like, yeah, just to think about Abraham and his son, Isaac. After all that waiting, after all that praying, after all that knowing, God is going to do it. God is going to bless me. And then God is like, yeah, here, now give it back to me. You like, now, wait a minute now. I don't know what that's going to look like tomorrow. I owe him what I don't even know exists yet. And so I always got to keep that in mind. Like, I could always fall off the bandwagon any day. Just having your mind open to spiritual things. I heard it put like this. I ain't come up with this. But somebody said just having your mind open to spiritual things is like the closest, like you like the closest thing to going insane right now. Right? Like you the closest person to pure insanity right now. Now you come all the way out here and go wrong. Man, you've got to be insane. Just being able to understand all the demonic things in this world. Man, look, you got one slip. And no, it might not take one slip. You know what I'm saying? But still, just look, as long as you think about it like that, like you make a lot less room for one slip. You know, I'm sure God is more merciful than that. But at the same time, though, I wouldn't even have to be here if everything was right. And it bothers me so bad when I see all of these people put themselves in such a high chair and set themselves up like such kings because they got a following in the gospel. And I'm like, don't you know you are actually a servant of all of these people you talk to? You a servant. I don't know if y'all know this, but when I make these videos, I'm usually doing work. And sometimes these videos be like hours long, like an hour long, and I might make 2 of them in a day. And you want to know what that means? Like that's an hour off my time that I could have spent getting bills paid. And then next day, you know, the stuff taking you 3 days longer than what it could have because you recording videos because God put a message on your heart. Hey, next thing you know, your wife complaining. We need to get this paid for. We need to get that. We need to get that. We need to get that. And you like, I know. I know. I know. Like, it'll get done. Just be patient. Now, I ain't the only one God called to be patient here. Right? Like, it ain't just me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just chill. It's just a bill. All right. It's like you don't know what people go through sometimes. Just being able to deliver messages. I got people sending me messages. Hey man, how much longer it's gonna be? How much longer it's gonna be? Hey man, you done yet? You done yet? And you over here on camera for an hour because God put something on your heart. It's like, man, you could have got that done in an hour. It's like, yeah, but I need to say it now, or if I wait till I get home, all hell gonna break loose soon as I walk in. Hey, daddy, can you get me some milk? It's like, no, how come I'm the only person you ever asked for milk? Right? Like your mom's sitting here, you don't never ask her. Like that don't mean she ain't gonna do it, but it's like the moment I walk in, yeah, that's the milkman. It's like I ain't got room to do none of this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, soon as I walk outside, it's, hey, I need you to watch the baby because of that. You like, and that's why a lot of this get done at work. Dead serious. I'm always at another job site doing this. I ain't never in the same place. Like, have y'all noticed that? Hardly. Yeah, like you might get 5 or 6 videos when I might be in the same place, but it's always somewhere getting cleaning or painting or something like that done. It's always in the middle of something like that. It's not it's a fight. It really is a fight. Dead see, and then you want to know the crazy part of that? Soon as you upload the video, you got 67 people wanting to argue with you about it. You like, now come on, man. Come on, man. Now you, all right. Long as I told you the truth, I ain't looking for nobody to give me something out of the deal. You know, I originally did this not really being aware of audience. I don't care nothing about a following. I never have really. I mean, I used to before I got saved, but thank God I had the right teaching in my life. You know, all that grow a following stuff. It's like, man, that could be potentially 1 million people gassing me up on the way to hell. So let me be real careful about all that following stuff. I seen it happen to too many people. Heck, the more people you got around you, the higher of the higher the possibility of snakes being in the grass. I'm not looking for everybody. I'm just not. I thank God I had the right teaching in my life. You know, I really do. That came about as an absolute miracle. I got on YouTube searching up Joyce Meyer when I first got saved because I ain't want to hear no more secular music on the clock like I used to, because I'm like, nah, it's like the taste got took out of my mouth for it. I'm like, man, I want to hear somebody preach, man. I want to learn about God. First thing I type up, because it's all I knew, Joyce Meyer. I'm like, I don't know. For some odd reason, I don't got an appetite for this. I'm like, let me type in TD Jakes. I'm like, you know what? I've been hearing this stuff all my life since I grew up in church. And it never really done anything for me. In fact, I haven't seen it do much for anybody, really. Like, yeah, it does something, but if this was it, the church wouldn't be in the position it's in right now. So this couldn't be right. They hit on this small YouTube channel. I'm like, you know, let me click on this. Blew my mind. I'm like, you know what? Okay. all right, now this is the gospel right here, because I ain't never heard this before. And for some odd reason, I can recognize by the Spirit that this is right. Even though it ain't a lot of people saying amen in the comments and yeah, brother, this is the real deal. Like, even though you don't see none of that, you don't see 1 million views, you don't see 1 million subscribers, but it's something in your spirit that tell you this is true. This is darn true. In fact, this is so true, I might as well count everything I heard before as a lie. It's something in your spirit that make you know when something is true, even if you don't want to hear it. Even if you don't want to believe it, something in you just make you know it's true. That's why you get so many people arguing with you. They see it like they'd rather argue with you to discredit you, because they think that if they can trip you up in your words or get you to go back on something you said, that make them think they right. And they know darn well what they just heard had to be true. But it's a truth I don't want to believe, because I like what I am and you are disturbing that. I don't like what I am. I'm going to keep it real. I don't like it. I don't. I don't like the fact I got to live here. I don't like the fact that, like, you think I like dying to the flesh? Like, that's choosing to die. Like, you think I enjoy being challenged in the spirit? Like, oh yes, come on, bring it on. Prove to me that I'm the devil. I would really want to know. Like, ain't nobody just choosing that because they like it. Then he call you, I need you to do this for my people. And it's like, man, I am honored that you want this for me. But at the same time, I know what I am. I know how I feel when I hear something that challenge me, and you want me to be the one to say it to somebody else? Oh, man. Like, you know how many enemies I'm gonna have? Bad enough, I didn't want it to slap some of the preachers that called me out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, oh. People put their life on the line just to be able to help you receive a renewed mind. Some of these people could have started businesses. I was on my way in business, and then my attention got diverted. No, I want you to do this now. It's like, well, I originally left my janitor job to start a business, and then I get all the way up here, and it's like, okay, do ministry. It's like, see, all the money I plan to make and all of that, it's just gone, right? It's like, look, don't even worry about that. And I ain't saying that's what I think, or I would much rather have something in this world or something like that. But that's just, that's what somebody would think, though. You know, I ain't think about it like that. When he first said that to me, I was happy. Well, I mean, I wasn't necessarily happy, but I was like, sure, yeah, let's just do it. You know, I didn't think nothing of it. I wasn't happy or mad. Happy, sad, nothing. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. You know, at a point in time, I come to not want to do it. What made me at a point in time just not even want to do it? Because I realized how much of a responsibility it was. I realized how unfit I am to be somebody's example of a godly, just a super godly person. And I'm like, and God had to draw me out of that delusion. All by the mercy of God, he had to correct me pretty hard. It wasn't fun. I went through hell to get back on track. And he's like, look, now before you draw back and my soul have no pleasure in you, I'm gonna have to disturb you for a minute. I'm like, okay. Yeah, and my life come to hell. All because God put a message in me to carry, and I I realized how heavy of a burden it was, and I'm sitting there saying to myself in my mind, maybe I'm not the person for this. It's so many people that can do this better than I can. It's like, yeah, they can, but they ain't. You ain't got nothing to lose. And you want to do it. You just don't want to have to be aware of what kind of responsibility it is. So do this. Understand that the more knowledge you have, the more grace God is going to give you to do right. And the less knowledge you have, the more grace God is going to give you to get right. So just understand his grace is sufficient enough for you. It's too easy to be self-conscious, aware of yourself. You know, some people just don't want to be the one to make somebody else uncomfortable because they don't like being uncomfortable. How about you die to the whole idea of comfort or discomfort, period, and just be a straight shooter without even thinking? Right? Just a straight shooter, not even thinking. What, like you ain't even aim. I ain't got to. His grace is sufficient enough for me. Like you wouldn't even considering who you was gonna hurt. I ain't supposed to. That's just what he told me to do. That's it. He just told me to do it. I did it. That was all. Yeah, I might go through hell over it, but you know what? I hope they kill me. I hate it here. Dead serious. At some point in time, you want to say to yourself, I would rather die serving God than to live a slave to the devil. Because what is all my years in life worth if it don't amount to some reward in the end? What is all my stressing over bills and taxes and kids and all of this other stuff going to amount to when I'm dead if I have no reward of eternal life in the end? If I'm going to go through hell, I want the kind of hell that's going to bring me eternal life. Everybody going to go through hell anyway. Hey, you think some of these rich people that need for nothing don't go through hell? All you got to do is mention the potential of going broke to them and they get depressed, in therapy, getting ready to go insane. You mean to tell me I worked on this company all these years and now we're getting ready to lose that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you still gonna have a few $1 million left, but yeah, my life is over. It's like, dude, I know poor people stronger than that. It's all about what gets to you as you know? I want y'all to understand this. We are reaching a time in our lives when you're going to hear a lot of messengers crying out in the wilderness. And you're going to reach a time when you're going to have a lot of messengers of the wilderness, keeping you locked in the wilderness. If that messenger of Christ, if the overall point behind everything they say, or most of what they say, is pointing you back to clinging to time and space, you can be assured that that's of the devil. If all they talk about is how to get something for your life here on earth that amounts to nothing but earth, that is the devil. Now, do God care about you in your life here on earth? Yes, he do, but that's not what he's after. God is not after your bank account. God is not after your new car. God is not after your bigger house. God is not after you getting a spouse. God is not after none of that. And so many prophets, oh, I see a promotion on your job in the future. And the whole time you talking to a child of hell preaching to prophesying to a child of hell. And the only thing y'all got to talk about is a promotion on the job. That's crazy. Now here you is, the one with the microphone in your hand. Look, you could correct this person in godliness, right? Like, you know, dang on well they in fornication. And the only thing you can say that God is telling you about them is a freaking promotion. You know, I remember a time in my life when I was backsliding and I was in fornication and things I knew better not to be in, but it's not always as simple as, like, you know, I'd rather have sin. Like, I don't think people see it that way. Like, some of that stuff is far more of a slippery slope than what people on the outside can see it as. If even the enemy can bring that stuff by in your life and got some way of twisting scripture to make you believe that it is of God. I know exactly what it's like. I know why people backslide. And it ain't cause they just said to themselves, screw God. That's not what it is. It's so much more of a twist and tangle than that. That's why I tend to have so much more grace and mercy when it comes to people in that position, because I know how it happened and I know why it happened. Sometimes people can backslide thinking they doing the will of God. That's a real thing. I'm not lying to you. That exists. But I remember a point in time in my little time of going wrong, I got sad. Not only did I not even want to be in the position I was in, not only did I just wish I could just muster up enough encouragement to just change. Broken on the inside. Look at what I've become. I'm a freaking mess. I wish to God that somebody would have corrected me. I wish to God that I had somebody in my life that just slapped some sense into me. Even though I already knew, I'm like, man, I don't even want to be like this. I wish to God that I had a brother in my corner to tell me, you better stop what you doing or you going to hell. I wish to God somebody would have done that. It broke my heart to see that so many people was just cool with it. That's the part of it that broke my heart. Is to see that so many people knew what position I was in and they had nothing but accolades to give. In churches. And I got mad. That's what put the icing on the cake. I'm like, I need to get right with God. No, and I'm doing it today, because to see the number of people who ain't even willing to sit me down and disciple me the right way and help me sort out the problem or just nothing. And in fact, people would rather talk to me to encourage the problem. And I said to myself, this world is crazy. And you want to know what? I'm crazy. And I don't like the thought of being crazy. So therefore, I got to do something about it, because I ain't going to be crazy. I know that for sure. Yeah, I might have made mistakes and went wrong, but I know one thing, I ain't about to just be stupid. Not forever. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. I dare you to go to church smelling like weed. So many brothers and sisters in the Lord. Hey, man, let me hit that after church. You like, man, I don't even like the fact that I'm a weed smoker. And all these brothers and sisters in the Lord is, and instead of being like, dude, look, I know you're struggling with something, man. Is there anything I can help you out with? No, they would rather hit the blunt. Especially if you in one of them positions when you starting to come to yourself and realize I need to put my foot down with this. And everybody in the Lord is supporting your backsliding. Yeah, I see them eyes, man. Hey, where you get your stuff from? Hey. Oh, it's all right, man. It's natural. God made it. It's like, but I'm not sober. I can't even think straight. I don't want to be like this. I don't even know how I got this way. I wish I could quit. I'm addicted. So many people. And then here comes some false prophet calling you up to the altar. Oh, Lord, I see this is your child here. And I can see a promotion coming on your job. It's like, man, I don't want none of that. I just want to be right with God. I don't care about none of that stupid stuff. In fact, I don't even want the job. And this is all everybody care about. And there's so many people struggling privately, don't know who to talk to, don't know who to go to. And all everybody would rather prophesy is just blessings. Ain't nobody around who you know can cast out demons. Just nothing. It's sad. It is. And the fact that God pulled you out of darkness and called you as an absolute nobody with nothing to your name. And you got to go pick up the slack that these people with everything don't do. People with the big churches. Ain't one demon been cast out. And here you is waking up off a park bench after being threw out, and God is like, go cast out devils. Now, I didn't call these people to do it, but they won't. I didn't chose all these Christian musicians to serve me, but yet they side with the world. They've been given everything, big platforms and all of this other stuff, and they choose to side with the world. Now, you know what? I'm gonna call you to do it. Somebody with nothing, go do what they won't do, and I'll be with you. You like, well, that's cool, but no, really, it's actually sad. It's actually sad to know that people with everything do a lot less in Christ for the cause of Christ, right? They might do a lot more, but for the cause of Christ is very little. People with everything do a lot less than somebody with nothing. Nobody. Don't know A from B. All they know is this is what God told me. That's it. I am determined to know nothing more amongst men but Christ and him crucified. All these educations teaching foolishness. All these highly educated preachers went to school for years and come back sending folk to hell. That's sad. And God is like, okay, all right. Now I can't get the wealthy man to lift the finger for my cause. I can't get the people that are well off to lift a finger for my cause. But they might do what they think is doing that, but it's all for the sake of just growing something unto themselves. I can't get the educated people to teach the truth. I can't get the mighty men to lift a finger. I'm call the weak one. God chose the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. God chose the weak people in this world to overthrow the strong. God chose the poor to win more souls than the rich. It's sad it's gotta be like that. I'm not lying. That's not good. It's not a glamorous thing to have to be in this position. I don't even feel good about it sometimes. I just don't. All of these people coming up with all these great ideas for Christian ministries, all of that stuff is good as long as it's actually serving the cause of Christ. Not just doing whatever look good in the name of Christ, but no, it's serving the cause of Christ. All of these Christian movies we got teaching false doctrine. All of this Christian music we got, you don't even know the artist is somewhere secretly writing that song as a worship song to the devil. All of these big Christian churches we got with all these fancy trappings and daycares, and I mean, like, it ain't nothing wrong with that stuff. Like, I would prefer that stuff to happen. Schools and basketball courts and parties and all of this stuff, and yet everybody going to hell. All of that, and the whole time, the only thing that really do work in the end is the foolishness of just preaching. All of these gifted speakers decreeing and declaring and coming up with all these big fancy words that lead to nothing but clinging to your life in this world. And all you got to do is just preach. Just preach. Well, I want to be a Christian rapper. Well, look, I want to let you know something. All you really got to do is just preach. Well, I want to be a deacon. It's like, look, it's not wrong to want to be anything. It's not wrong to want to do anything. But what do you do? Like, what's the point? Right? Like, what are you after? What's your main goal? A million subscribers, right? But like, it ain't wrong to want that. Like, if the message is good, you should want it to go to everybody. I've got no problem with that. I get that. But most of the time, people don't do ministry for the sake of the cause of Christ. They do it because it's a gateway for them to be somebody. I could be anybody in this world. I know how to rap. I know how to do. I can start 10 businesses right now if I really stick my mind to it. I was a very popular person. I was the man. I came to Christ and fell off. I can be anybody I want to be. And I come here just to be a nobody. Well, I must be here for something other than being somebody. I was somebody out there. Now I left out there. I didn't come here to use this for me becoming somebody. This is too hard. It'd be a whole lot easier to just go back to the streets. It'd be a whole lot easier to just go back and do my thing. I can be somebody overnight. Everybody sitting back waiting. Hey man, when Corey Acid coming back? Never. I have people asking me that every day. Somebody just asked me that yesterday. I'm like, I don't want to be him anymore. He was an avatar I created who I had to kill for the sake of Christ. I understand a lot of people got love for me and all, but I don't want to be me no more. I'm tired. I'm wore out. All I want to be is just Christ. That's it. Not in a way of wanting to take his place or his glory, but just him living through me and just doing what he wants. Like I'm too wore out with trying to be the master of my own story. That don't work for somebody who God wants. It might work for somebody who God already know is not going to accept the gospel. That might work for somebody like it could work for somebody in the world, but God has had his hand on my life my whole life, and it took me to get saved to realize that. All them times I should have been killed. I was invited to the parties. Got there and they turned me away. Hey, no sweatpants. I'm like, I'd have made it all the way here. You mean to tell me I can't come in because I'm wearing sweatpants? Man, screw this. I'm going back home. 2 hours later, the whole place gets shot up. You like, oh, thank God. But I ain't see it that way at that time. I'm just like, well, dang, I'm glad I wasn't there. They ain't let me in. Think about the number of times I could have been in situations like that could have took my life. Some of the females I was involved in, totally dangerous. STDs that had my name on it. Gang fights and all of that stuff, drug deals that could have went wrong. I was just there I was just there getting a sack. You mean to tell me an hour after I left, somebody, the dude that walked in after I left, then shot the whole place up and robbed everybody. What the heck? Well, why'd you leave so soon? I had somebody calling my phone, bugging me to get back home to watch the kids. I'm like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Hey man, look, I gotta go. Boom, boom, boom. Dude walk in right after I leave and shoot the whole house up and rob everybody. And God has had his hand on my life from day one. I remember when I was involved in the secular rap community, and just all of a sudden I can see the demon in it. And I go home crying like a baby. God, I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. Look at what we all become. What if I would have kept pursuing that? What if? I remember when I was in the middle of recording my first album, I fell asleep at work in the closet, knocked out, had a dream. I ain't gonna tell you the whole dream, but the point of the dream. He said, if you choose let me. Basically, something scared the crap out of me in my sleep. It made me aware of the fact that I was choosing the world. And God was showing me, you are choosing the world, and this is what this is. I seen a demon with a long snake tongue, just long, basically showing me, this is the demon you serving, choosing the things of this world. You pursuing this album quite hard, ain't you? Doing anything and everything to get this released. And all of the words you speaking in this music is snake speech. This is the demon right here. I woke up scared. But I didn't understand it at that time. It took me some time. I still made the album, not necessarily understanding what that mean to choose the world. I couldn't have even, I didn't even interpret that dream fully until after I done got saved. I got saved shortly after that. Well, probably not shortly after that, but sometime after that. Actually, shortly after that is when I stopped making music. Something in me just didn't want to do it no more. I'm like, man, I don't want to rap no more. I considered that dream that I had, and I'm like, man, maybe God is trying to tell me something. Didn't even know who God was. I'm saying that to say this. Consider how your life has worked out. God has had his hand on your life for a reason. Because he want to use you for a purpose. All these things everybody else won't do. These people just won't cast out devils. I don't know what's wrong. These people just won't believe that if they lay their hands on the sick, they can see them recover. I remember when I was still struggling with smoking weed. Well, it wasn't actually weed at that time. I was trying to let weed go, and I was trying to do it in my own power. And so I just got one of them little wax pens, like one of them little vape pens with the THC in there, saying to myself, well, it's not actually smoke, so it couldn't be all that bad. But it, like, the point I was missing is you still high though. In the middle of me letting all of that go, still struggling with drug addiction. In the middle of being delivered from all that THC usage. And I was a pretty moderate person too, but I look at small stuff as real big stuff. Like what y'all might call a small deal to me is like, oh no, right? Like if I accidentally tell a white lie, I just be like, oh, I am such a sinner. And y'all be like, dude, you act like you just, all right, man. Right, like I used to hit the thing like once a day during a certain time in the day. Some people smoke blunts all day long. And if I look at myself as evil, they like, well, what you calling me then? You know, I'm just like, man, I need to quit this, man. This is wrong. They like, you don't even, I can't even believe you even high. That little bitty old puff ain't doing nothing. But still, though, I see little stuff as big things, though. I promise you I do. I was in the middle of struggling with that. I just, it was like something wrong with my mind that was driving me to want to do it. Like, I'm just like, man, in the middle of struggling with that. God used me to do a miracle. I kid you not. A lot of people would never believe it because they never seen it. They like, well, I thought you had to be perfect and have angel wings and a halo and all that other stuff. It was like, look, I believed, right? Yeah, now I might be struggling with some stuff, but my heart is pursuing righteousness though. And I believed. I was dead serious. I'm like, this gonna have to work, because if it don't, look, we in trouble. God is gonna have to do something, man, because first of all, it ain't no reason I'm here. I'm here for a reason. I ain't even asked to be here, and I gotta see this every day too. I'm sitting there telling myself, like, they are going to die. God, look, now I know I'm not perfect. Okay, I know it's a whole lot you can have against me, right? But this ain't about me. This is like, look, like this is about them, right here. Please do something, because I can't tolerate this. Look, I don't care if you hate me for the rest of eternity. Please do something about this person. Please. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. And I heard the voice of God say to me, well, why don't you go and do something about it? I'm like, me, that can't get right, right? Like, now I know so many more godly people than me. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I had to stop. I'm like, okay, yeah. Like Moses made that mistake. I'm like, all right, wait, let me stop. All right, cool. As long as something get done about this. I can't stand to watch this every day. I just can't. Happened right before my face. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Look, like, whatever move I make in my life right now, I bet you one thing, I can't get no worse than I am. I'm still working on deliverance. I cannot get no worse than this. I can't go back no more. This is it for me. This is it. I can't backslide no more. I was in a place in my life when I was being severely corrected and chastised for that same situation I was talking about earlier. It was all part of the same year, in fact. And that's when, like, you know, all of it changed. I'm like, everything from that day forward changed. I'm like, no, I just seen the miracle. God just used me to do it. Now, if for once in my life, look, if I got any doubt of unbelief in me, it's gone now. It's gone now. Forget that. So many people who's refusing to just accept the call. Why? Because they waiting to be perfect. You ain't gonna come to God perfect. You do know that, right? Like, you ain't gonna come to God perfect. And I ain't saying to just accept never changing just because I'm saying it like that. Some people say, well, I ain't gonna be perfect anyway, I might as well just stay this way. It's like, no, that's not the point. That's just not what I'm trying to say here. If I told somebody that story, they would never believe it. They like, so you mean to tell me you in the middle of trying to get right with God from backsliding, struggling with drug addictions, don't know how you got there, in the middle of being corrected, in the middle of being all of them other things, And you in the middle of that. And that happened. You must have been high. I'm like, no, I wasn't. No, I had just woke up from walking around all day. I'm walking around all day just to be in prayer. I'm like, I don't want to be in the house. I don't want to talk to nobody. Every day of every hour, every second of that, every second of every day was all about just pulling myself back together. And I thank God that he had mercy on me. I do. I mean, because he ain't have to. You know, like he ain't have to save me the first time. Think about the number of people going through stuff like that. They don't know who they can talk to. So many people stay in the position they're in. All because they feel like it's over for them. But they never had a real-time example of what could be if only they had the faith. If only somebody told them, what you think is over for you, I was worse than you. And it wasn't over for me. Yeah, I had to pay for it. I'm glad I did have to pay for it. Heck, like that way I won't have to go to hell for it. You know? I bet you I know now. Some of these people, the enemy got a huge war out on their life because they know what God has called them to be. They can see that gift and that call on their life. And and the enemy send things your way, send people your way, pushing and pulling real hard. Like, you remember when the Bible say that if it were possible, even the very elect would be deceived? Like, you want to know something about elect people is that they can be food for a time. But it's all a matter of time before they come to themselves and realize what's going on. It's not possible for the very elect to be deceived, but even when they get fooled or played or tricked for a time, even in the middle of being fooled and played, they can kind of sort of see what's going on, but they like, well, maybe it ain't like that. And then they realize, you know what, I'm stupid. I actually seen this coming a mile away. All right. Okay. It's all a matter of time before the elect just wake up and say to themselves, you know what? It's got to be more to life than this. It's got to be. All of these people doing what they call serving God is getting people to cling more to this world. There's no glamour in this at all. Like, you ever dealt with a person with a demon? Literally, like, like, do y'all even know what that's like? It's a freaking nightmare. Dealing with somebody with a like, most people think that people with demons look like they got demons. Like, people to just, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, doing all kind of funny stuff and red eyes and just going around biting and scratching people. Not everybody with a demon look like that. Some of these people look like regular everyday people, nice people, people you like. But when that demon start manifesting in them, it's like, you know what? This is crazy. This is crazy. This is dirty. And God, you called me to be involved in their life? Oh, man, this is nasty. I have come across so many people like that. Sometimes demons can get a foothold into some people's lives specifically because of something they don't even know. It's not that they demon possessed. They can be demon inspired. The demon got room to inspire them based on things they don't know. People would sabotage their own life believing it's the will of God. I'm like, no, hold on a minute. Look at this. Right here in the scripture, it says this. Like, they look at me crazy. Like, from that point on, they just different. They like, I ain't even know that. I kind of thought I was going crazy. Yeah. You is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you is. Yeah, but I ain't gonna say it though. I ain't even gonna say it. But still, when you don't know the truth, you got more room for Satan to inspire you to walk in lies. And all he called me to do is be up here and just tell people the naked truth. Hey, like, look, this is what it is. Right? Now, I know that person who worded it in such a way to where you just loved to hear what they said, told you this, but I'm telling you what he's saying is evil. It just don't seem evil. It seems like something you would love. Most evil come in the form of what should have been love. Believe it or not. Think about Samson. You know what I'm saying? You don't love me because you won't tell me how to destroy you. Oh, man. Why is this character Samson such a... Yeah, it's just such a common thing in my life right now. Such a common character. The church, the end time church, Samson was a type and shadow of the church. Believe it or not. You know, we get started off right. Walking empowered. Most of the time we know we got power, but we don't know the full blow of it. Next thing you know, we go wrong, we go blind, can't see. And now we mad. Just mad. Mad at what the devil did to us, or mad at what we let the devil do to us. And destroy everything after you say to yourself, I don't want nothing else in this life. I don't want to lust after no more whores. I don't want no more drinks. I don't want to watch no more TV. I don't want to hear no more news. I don't want to go to no more clubs. In fact, burn them all down. And you want to know what? Burn me down with it. But I know one thing. God, use me this last time. And we're going to wreak havoc on this whole place because I want revenge for what happened to me. Sometimes God allow this stuff to happen to you to make you mad. Because it ain't nothing like a mad, righteous man who learned his lesson. Look, you just can't stop him. Like, look, like you can't even tempt me with that no more. You done already used that card. Like, I don't know what else you got. Like, I done already seen the hell and everything you could tempt me with. I done already suffered the hell of everything you did tempt me with. Heck, now you got to fight me face to face. Be blessed, y'all. My phone getting ready to die. So I have to end this message. I'm on like 11%, but I'm actually powering my mic from my phone and it's like draining real quick. So, man, sometime I really just be up here just to let God have his way. Right? Like a lot of times I like to give messages a title, and usually I want that message to be about this one thing. But sometimes you just need to hear everything. everything. Like, it's so much to this that we don't understand. So much more to being the one God called to do something. Like, God called Samson specifically because Israel needed to be judged, right? Oh, well, we're at war with the Philistines and they're enslaving us. Why? Because you're evil. That's why he had to call Samson to fight off your battles, because you the one that got yourself in this trouble. I don't know, man. Like, people, they absolutely mistake what this is about. They absolutely mistake what this is about. They do. But other than that, y'all stay blessed. I got to get on out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.